Okay, this is yours. Okay.
Thank you, Jeff. Thank you. Aloha. How's it? I was here 10 years ago, so I remember my vocabulary, cousin. Very honored, very pleased to be back in the island, and much more excited this morning because I'm going to talk to you about the power of social. You see, I work a lot in the government space, as Jeff has mentioned. I work with the public sector. But being in DC, every time I talk to decision makers, business people about social, they go, I don't want no social. I don't want no pictures of cats on our intranet. But that's not it. In this keynote session, I'm going to show you, inspire you, motivate you on how you can transform your organization with the power of enterprise social. To get our conversation started, friends, if we take a look at history, right? If we take a look at recent times, you guys remember this company, Blockbuster? See, Blockbuster, believe it or not, in 1999 filed for an IPO. They were at their prime. Around the same time, a guy named Reed Hastings decided that he's fed up with returning late fees for his DVDs going to Blockbuster. So he decided, Mr. Hastings, to start a company called Netflix, right? And as he was starting in 1999, Blockbuster was growing like there's no tomorrow. In 2004, there were 9,000 stores and growing. Unbelievable. In fact, in 2007, the CFO decided, you know what? Let's reallocate our investment on streaming movies. Let's cut our investment there, and let's open more stores. To a high of 60,000 employees. And this was not too long ago. But in 2010, they filed bankruptcy. Netflix, Hulu, Amazon Prime, they're picking up. You guys watch House of Cards yet, season 2? Good. And where's Blockbuster today? In 2013, officially dead, no more. What just happened, friends? You know what happened? Shift happened. We laugh, we find it funny, we think that's just technology company. Let me look at AOL, look at Netscape. Change is the new norm, has been the norm. I mean, if we look back in time, in the early 1900s, anybody remember Bethlehem Steel? Bethlehem Steel, does that ring a bell? Bethlehem Steel was like the Facebook back in 1900. They built America. Where's Bethlehem Steel today? Nowhere. Dead. Gone. You see, a lot of organizations and corporations weren't designed to support change. A lot of our structure, how we work today, was built upon the Industrial Revolution, friends. And there's a good reason for that. Back in the Industrial Revolution, we had to come up with processes, hierarchies, structures, efficiencies, so we can deliver things better, sooner, faster with the technology they had at that time. Y'all with me? Forgive my heavy southern accent. I come deep south. Manila. Corporations weren't designed to adapt to change. But yet, fast forward 2014, technology has kept up. Unfortunately, we haven't. In 1995, the Fortune 500 companies that existed then, only 50 of those are around today. 20 years ago. It's sad. Scary. Shit happens. What about you guys? A lot of you, I know, come from maybe the public sector, DOD, banks, legal firms. They go, no, we don't change. We love our paper and pen. That's cool. Because no matter what your excuse is, you want it or not, it's here. This revolution is here to stay. It's up to you to keep up. The good news is, you can. You wanna know how? Hello? You had spam for breakfast today? You're all weak, yeah? You see, The revolution is here with these four telltale signs, friends. Number one, as you know, we live in a world of BYOD. I mean, when the iPad first came out, who in the corporation, in the enterprise, in the organization, the division has to have their iPad? Who? The executives, right? The CEO walks in, hey, this thing called iPad 1, make it work with our VPN. Yeah, I'm talking about you. And then IT now, what? We're a Microsoft shop. We don't accept non-Microsoft. Now you got Android. It's not getting any better. If marketing wants something, hey IT, we're working on a project. Can you give us a website, a SharePoint site? And IT's too busy. What does marketing do? Oh, let me go to Box. Let me go to Dropbox. Let me go to Google Apps. They scam. They got to get their job done, yet the structures we have doesn't allow for it. It's here. The second sign of this revolution, friends, is how fast things are happening today. Business landscape changing. Every blink of our eye. I mean, who would have imagined a guy putting out a video on YouTube on June 2012, 6 months later was the most watched video on YouTube, and the guy made $8 million just off of that one YouTube video alone on YouTube. He spells his name P-S-Y. I spell my last name S-Y. Don't get confused. Right? Things are happening so fast. Facebook bought what? What's up yesterday for what? $19 billion freaking dollars. Yeah, I'm in the wrong job. You know? I'd be pitching this for Facebook. We're in the age where we got to do more with less, and we all know what that means. The business requires more of us, and we don't get more people, we don't get more money. And lastly, and the most important part of this revolution, how we communicate is drastically changing. For example, how many of you got at least 50 emails last week? Raise your hand, please. And don't bring it down, just keep it up, keep it up. Okay, if you had at least 50 emails last week, how many of those hands that are up got 2 handwritten letters last week? Keep the hands up. Yes? It's changing. I mean, in our personal lives, let me ask you, do you even use email to interact with your friends and family? No. I mean, that's why I use my email to get my monthly statement from the bank. Or to get confirmation that my Amazon Prime has been shipped. You guys have a good deal here in the island to use Amazon Prime. You can actually order furniture. Seriously. Yeah. The way we communicate is changing. How do we interact with friends? And how would you know if your cousin went on vacation? Where would you find out? Facebook, yeah? And it's natural for us. How did you find out that the royal baby was born? Did you have to look at the local news at 6 o'clock that the royal baby's out? How'd you find out? Twitter, Facebook, what? Instagram, Pinterest. Look at all these new baby books. And it's very normal in our personal lives. When I think about it. And the powerful part with this is, I'm sure you all remember the tragedy last November. I'm sure some of you know people or friends or family. I know somebody who was lost because of this tragedy, this typhoon that hit the Philippines. What's so powerful about technologies today? The moment that hit, communications were down. The team that was supposed to save the locals got wiped out. What did they do? They ran to social. We need help. We're in this location. One of the greatest stories is somebody posted a tweet that their location was captured. On Twitter, it showed the location. Emergency team came and actually saved somebody who was injured. If that didn't happen, the person would have died. See, the power of social is not just about liking the new baby, but we're saving lives. We're having revolutions in different parts of the world. Who's from PACOM? Did you know PACOM coordinated a lot of the logistical operation during the tragedy, and SharePoint was integral for that? communications has changed for the better. We do this normally in our personal lives, yet how we work, unfortunately, has not changed. You know what the number one collaboration tool is in 2014 in the enterprise today? Guess. Email. A 1973 technology. In the age where we have iPad 6, iPhone 4, or no, Galaxy 4G, we have GPS in our car, though it doesn't matter here in Hawaii. Traffic sucks. Yet, we use email to work together. What's wrong with that, Doc? It works. Yeah, it works. Not efficient. Social is so powerful, not because of the tool, but because of how we behave. You see, we as human beings, we have an intrinsic drive to engage and connect, and technology already kept up with that. Hence, social is so powerful. We like to organize in tribes and communities to get things done. I mean, think about it. In Facebook, why do you have Facebook and connected to your friends? Because that's your community. Your family, that's a community. In LinkedIn, why do you have a group? Because it's a community of interest, same company. Why do you have a project team? That's a community with same intent. We're wired to do that. And email doesn't facilitate effectively these kinds of activities. You see, today, we have an average of 4 devices we interact with every single day. Think about it. You know, you wake up this morning, what happened? Fitbit just buzzed your hand, just wake up. And you pick up your phone, what's my schedule for today? Then after you got out of bed, you got your iPad, reading the paper. Yes? And as you're having breakfast, you set the iPad aside, fired up your old funky Dell Windows XP, VPN into work. Y'all with me? You feel the love? That's the world we live in. Yet, how come we still function ineffectively? How come, in spite of all these wonderful gadgets, teams today are overwhelmed? You know, 61% of the time we spent is just coordination, trying to figure out what to do things. This is true. McKinsey did a research in organizations. In a typical 8-hour day, people spend 60% just coordinating, looking for stuff, not really working. 60% of an 8-hour day, that's about what? 5 hours? 4.5 hours? Hey, where's that report? I don't know. Ask Joey. Joey, where's that report? Maybe it's in the X drive. You know, 14 folders deep. How much is that costing our organization? If you had an intern, 4 hours, maybe it's $40, right? But what if you had a high-powered consultant sitting at your office and they're coordinating, they can't find stuff, they're billing $300 an hour. $1,200. Have you guys heard that story about Bill Gates buying Kona coffee here in Oahu, Aloha Moana? No? He was at a coffee shop, Aloha Moana Mall. The guy used cash, right? He was paying for his coffee latte, and he dropped his $100 bill. He saw it, but he didn't pick it up. He just took another $100 and paid for his coffee and walked away. The guy behind him saw that $100 bill drop, picked it up right after Mr. Gates. Hey, Mr. Gates, you're so obnoxious. How come you didn't pick up this $100 bill and clearly you saw it drop? Sorry, but if I pick that up, that's 5 seconds of my time, which is $3,000. I made that up, so that's not true. The point is, yeah, we got Microsoft people here, like Mr. Gates. But you see my point? We're satisfied to go in, you know, and yeah, this is the way it is. Such is life. You could be better. You can do it now. How do we do it? Right? You see, today, information is moving so fast. It drives change. It builds organization and kills organization. I mean, how many Amazon reviews out there has caused certain products to skyrocket? You know those rubber bands kids play with? Rainbow Loom? If you have kids, you know what I'm talking about. You know why that peaked? Because of social, because of great reviews. But then you got companies who close shop because bad reviews on Yelp. How fast information moves drives change. The question is, externally, your customers are doing this. They're providing feedback, but what do you do? Marketing wants something to get their job done faster, better, sooner, but IT, what do you do? Wait, your ticket is still 100 down? I'll give it to you 6 months from now. Yeah, that's what Remedy said, so. Mr. Welch says, if the rate of change on the outside exceeds the change on the inside, the end for you is near. I'm not scaring you, but this is so true. You can never, ever be complacent and think, that won't happen to us. We're the big and mighty DOD. We're always going to be there. Yeah, you know it's going to be there. But what? What's your mission? How do you use the tools you have today to take it to the next level? And that's where enterprise social comes in. Now, let me make sure we all understand what enterprise social is. So I want you to read this with me, and I'll show you examples. All right, when I count to 3, read this definition with me. 1, 2, 3. Enterprise social is an important method for enhancing communication, coordination, and collaboration for business. It's not about likes. It's not about news feeds. It's not about Facebook. It's to drive better communication, collaboration for business purposes. I was working with a customer a year or so ago. They're going to do SharePoint 2013 upgrade. Large organization. The project manager walked up to me and says, hey, Dux, what do you think? You know, when we upgrade SharePoint 2013, we're going to turn on all the social, you know, we're going to do wiki, we're going to put in the news feed. I go, whoa, whoa, whoa. Why? Just like you, they were really silent. Makes me insecure as an immigrant to this country that my English is not good enough. I asked another question. ¿Por qué? And Mr. Gary, the IT guy, and the project manager says, what do you mean, Dux? Why do you need newsfeed, slides? Isn't that what Microsoft's pushing? Isn't that what's popular? Because the business people says, oh, I want a wiki. I want like a Facebook. Okay? For what business purpose? If you turn on a news feed, how can that affect Auntie Sally in accounting processing expenses every month to make her job better to coordinate and collaborate with accounting? So how can a news feed help Auntie Sally in accounting? If you cannot answer me that question, don't even do it. Y'all with me? Don't get too caught up with a bright, shiny object. This is cool, it's nice, it's a new thing, we gotta have it. There's value, but for what business purpose? All right, Dux, I get you, I feel you. Now I get it, enterprise social has to have a business purpose, but what does that look like? Can you show me a picture? I'll show you this picture, watch.
History has taught us that the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. That working together, we are able to accomplish more than we could ever accomplish on our own. That when great minds come together, anything is possible. So we are reinventing the way people work together. We are making it easier than ever before to share ideas, discover connections, ask questions, find answers. Stay in sync. Organize information. And build the team that takes an idea and makes it a reality. SharePoint, the new way to work together.
Would you like that in your company? That's enterprise social. You know, I just have this little pet peeve with these videos. How always starts with a guy walking the beach with a dog. But if you dissect that, what's the business purpose? They're a products company building some product, and maybe this guy was part of that team. He was walking, and that moment of inspiration, he took a photo of a windmill. This would work for a new product, posted it on their social feed. In that case, they're using Yammer. The team that was part of that feed got alerted. Wow, this is cool, but you know what? Joe in our other division, the other part of the world, is working on this too. Hey, Joe, check this out. Wow, that's cool. That's exactly what I needed. So let's build this. Could this have happened in email? Yeah, maybe, but not like that. What we're talking about here, friends, is taking the power of social technologies as we're familiar with in our personal lives, applying it in our work lives. When we talk about enterprise social, we're not just talking about Yammer or SharePoint. We're talking about a platform to enhance collaboration, communication, coordination for our jobs. Enterprise social is very valuable because it allows us to do better engagement. We're not telling our resources, hey, the only way you can work is use that VPN Windows XP machine. He had his phone, took a picture. Somebody was using a Surface computer. You can use an iPad. That's how I work. We can provide a more efficient way to collaborate. I'm not saying kill email. Email is important. It has its place. But with enterprise social, it drives and delivers more value. You can be more agile. Remember I talked about how things are moving so fast. Because of that situation, the company was able to put their products out faster, better, sooner. And we're all connected. It's not just about using one piece of software, right? It's about from the client, the phone, interacting with SharePoint, to Office, to Surface, to the servers in the back end, to non-Microsoft systems. That is powerful stuff. And friends, you can do this today. I love it when shift happens because what we're doing here is we're taking the model that was designed back in the Industrial Revolution where everybody's siloed, operations doesn't know what R&D is doing. Boy, how many times I walk into organizations, they buy all of our AvePoint products in one group, and then the other group bought the exact same thing. And then the other group, well, I should keep my mouth shut. It's good for business. It's like, what's going on? Okay. We want to elevate it to this idea of having an enterprise that's connected, where it's not siloed, to facilitate what's called purposeful collaboration. The word collaboration has been overused. I hate those words. Collaboration, document management, knowledge management. It's like a hula dance. But what's the purpose? When we talk about purposeful collaboration, we're thinking about software or tools to allow people to create, discover, interact with the content, colleagues, communities to get their jobs done for a specific purpose. We're working on a project. We're running a mission in Southeast Asia for this disaster recovery. We're building a new product. We have a new marketing campaign. What's your purpose? Right? It's great, Ducks. I like what I'm hearing. I get it now, but how do I do this? How do I do this? Give me some ideas on what are the step-by-step directions on when I go back, when I talk to my boss, my colleagues, how do we go about by doing this? All right? So I'm going to share 5 steps with you. The first step to drive purposeful collaboration is you got to make sure you secure stakeholder buy-in. I was in DC, and there's this one customer. He calls me up and he goes, Ducks, how do you make people in the organization to use SharePoint and put their collaborative documents in SharePoint and not use file shares anymore? Because they still keep using file shares. You don't experience that, right? I go, easy, kill it. Make it read-only. I can't, docs. Why not? It's our VP. It's our VP who's doing it. That is a lot of fundamental issue that abounds in organization. The powers that be, the check writers, has no clue. In their minds, oh, SharePoint, just another Microsoft technology. Okay, IT, go SharePoint. Right? Whatever. In their minds, it's just somewhere you put files. You know, 80% of global SharePoint deployments is nothing but a big file dump. A very expensive file dump, for that matter. You laugh, but it's so true. Unless the decision makers understand the value of your social investment, it's just another fancy toy. You know, according to Gartner, by 2015, 80% of social initiative will not be met because inadequate leadership and an overemphasis on technology. And that's a big issue today in the enterprise. A lot of decision makers, no, I'm not saying they're wrong, they just don't know. They went to a conference, they watched magazines, some Microsoft sales guy, you gotta buy social. Everybody's social. Yeah, we got social. Okay. Business matters, social doesn't. Tweet that. Business matters, social doesn't. When you want to engage with stakeholders, and you want to make a case for social, you got to make sure you prove to them that this has value to whatever your strategic initiatives are. Saving money, making money, driving better innovation. Let me give you an example. You know Red Robin Burgers? You're familiar with that burger joint? So it's big in the mainland. They sell burgers. And a year or two ago, because of slow economy and competition, they're trying to figure out ways to cut costs. Okay? And traditionally, how would they do it? They might hire a consultant, or they might run a survey. But they said, we need to know now, and we need to tap in everybody working in the company, especially the ones working in the restaurants, because they would know better. They're in the front lines. Y'all with me? They had Yammer. So what did they do? The CFO posted a message on Yammer to everyone in the company, because everyone in the company at Red Robin has access to it on their phones, on their tablets, computers. He essentially said this, hey guys, we're trying to figure out ways how to save money, so let's do this. I'm going to throw a contest. Suggest how we can save money, and then I'm going to open it up for 2 weeks, and then we'll bring it down to about 100 suggestions, and we're going to make everybody vote. Whoever has to vote as the best suggestion, out of my pocket, $1,000 cash. This was a 3-week exercise. Everybody was engaged, money. The message went out quickly. Oh, we should not use styrofoam cups. We should buy this kind of oil, blah, blah, blah. So they narrowed it down to 100 entries, made everybody in the company vote, and they had a winner. They even took pictures of the best suggestion, $1,000. Of that final 100 cost-saving suggestions, do you think they just implemented the top suggestion? They implemented the top 50. In a span of 3 weeks, collectively, they crowdsourced, asking for ideas. It came back. On the 4th week, they started saving money. That's how you demonstrate value to the powers that be. I highly discourage you to go to your executive and say, hey, we can hook up Yammer and SharePoint to CRM, SAP, run DMC. That's what we do as IT, right? Because in IT, we want to hook stuff up, like complex stuff, web services, XML, APIs. Because we know executives don't understand that. They don't want to look dumb and say, yeah, let's do that. And 5 years later, $3 million later, failed project. What are the quick wins? Start thinking about your world. The idea of social is to empower people working in the organization so that folks that are decision makers can drive better decision sooner. And email doesn't allow for that. How's everybody so far? Good stuff? Useful? I mean, we're here for SharePoint Saturday. I want to show you another example. Okay? So I'm going to show you a video. This is actually the SharePoint team, the guys who are building SharePoint up and ready. And one of the things they needed to do is to accelerate their release cycle. Because this is a new mandate. We're not going to release SharePoint every 3 years anymore. They have a 90-day cycle that they're working on. So releases has to be faster. But how can they do that? Communication has to be faster. And one of the things they found, same picture, right? One of the things they found is what's holding them back a lot of times is making decisions. And they found out that they only make decisions when they have meetings. You like meetings, don't you? So they figured out a way to use Yammer to drive faster decision making so they can get their release packages out sooner. Watch this.
I've been at Microsoft for 17 years.
What do you
I've
think?
been working on SharePoint since 1998, since we started the team. And we've come a really long way, but Yammer is just this fundamental upgrade to how people communicate, and it's really enabled our team to fundamentally upgrade how we communicate with each other.
One of the highlights of using Yammer in our day-to-day work is the way in which Yammer has improved the spec review process for us. The process used to be that we would send out a meeting request, discuss the feature, come to decisions in that meeting, and then that feature would progress all the way through development while only having a few eyes on it.
Yammer as a tool has really enabled us to bring a lot more people from around the company into our conversations. People we didn't even expect to be able to participate, and we didn't even know who to ask. They'll just jump into conversations, and that's people in marketing, it's people in sales, people in consulting, and people in all of our partner engineering teams around the company.
Communicating in public brings us to better decisions faster. Since we've adopted Yammer, we can communicate more quickly because we don't have to wait for synchronous meetings.
Instead of getting everybody together with all the scheduling conflicts we had to face before, we can get things done, usually like that same day, just by having a Yammer thread where everybody can participate.
For me, as a PM, one of the specs that I've personally owned required me to come up to speed on a web part that was designed years ago. And what I was able to do with Yammer was to just simply search on the name of the feature, find all the groups that were related to the production and refinement of that web part, and learn about its history and where it's been and how it was made, so that in my refinement, I was able to leverage all that information and not have to have synchronous meetings with the stakeholders to have them get me up to speed. I was able to do that all on my own. And it led to me getting a spec out a lot faster than I otherwise would have been able to do without Yammer.
So it's both good for the team, and I think it's been really good for me. It's been good for the individuals on the team because we get a lot more context. So we just have the information we need to do our jobs most effectively. We can also share way more easily, so it's a lot easier to sort of get credit for the things that you're doing. You get likes, you get responses, people praise each other a lot more often in Yammer. It's really been an amazing tool, I think, for individual empowerment and engagement.
Communications are better in the open, so by moving to Yammer, it helped us get to better designs faster and better communication with our field and better communication with marketing and ultimately better product for customers.
So again, how do you drive purposeful collaboration? How do you convince the organization that this is something useful? You get stakeholders buy. Look at a specific pain point. It doesn't have to be complex. How you do spec reviews, how you run meetings, how you run projects. Test that out. The second step, once you engage the stakeholders, they see value, they see how it can be used in your organization, map it to a specific business need or business value. One of the hardest things, if you decide to roll this out to the entire organization, is not using the technology, but making people change. SharePoint has been around for 12 years, and people still send email with attachments. I told you to put a link. Change is hard. That's why you have to make the change, the reason to change, worthwhile. If all you're saying is, hey, I'm IT and we've got Yammer, go have fun, okay. But if you tell the project manager you can get responses back in half time than what you traditionally will, all right, I'll try that. Is it too hard to learn? No, not really. Map it to specific business value. To facilitate purposeful collaboration, if you look at your business environment, what are the common pain points? I mean, I could tell you a lot of common things. Working on projects together. The number one project management tool is still email and Excel. What if you can improve that? Right? Improve meetings. Improve how people communicate, because the way we communicate is still very transactional, still very serial. What if you can communicate kind of like how we do in Facebook? Identify quick wins. And what I mean by that, when you go back to your organization, what are people doing that they're so frustrated with? And I also advise you to go after low-hanging fruits, and what that means is I don't encourage you to tell people, hey, from today onwards, you're going to go to the browser and start using SharePoint 2013, nothing more, nothing less. Not going to work. You got to start with something that's familiar to people, such as phones, apps, such as email, such as Word or Excel. And the beauty with a Microsoft social platform, it talks to all that. You know, about 3 months ago, I had a awakening in DC. I used to think, because everybody in DC would tell me, Docs, this whole social is for the young generation. We seasoned veterans, it's a generational thing. We're not going to use them. I thought that was true, but that's a boatload of crap excuse. Because 3 months ago, here's what happened. So I was in this Department of Trade facility. I was working with a customer there. And she's 1 year to retirement. Very nice lady. But she's one of those who doesn't care for these. She just Excel, email, that's it. But after work, we clocked out. So we walked out the office building. The first thing she did, she whipped up her iPhone, checked her feed in Facebook, made sure she had the updated Candy Crush. Walking and playing Candy Crush. What's up with that? I didn't see her use email on her phone. In fact, her phone was better than my phone. I thought she would have like that Zach Morris phone, yeah? The brick Motorola phone. Generational excuse is a boatload of crap. They only say that because they don't see value. Y'all with me? Demonstrate value. So here's another example. For those of you that don't know, I wrote the book SharePoint for Project Management. Who bought or read that book? Jeff, you hyped me up here and then nobody read my book. All right, tell you what. So no more excuses. Everybody will get a copy. Seriously. We'll email you a code that you can go to Amazon or something and you can get a free ebook copy. Okay? That's just 80 cents less for my son's college fund copy. I'll make sure everybody gets that. So anyway, I'm passionate about project management because I think that's one of the areas of collaboration that needs help today. And we rely on email too much. But what if we take enterprise social and maximize that to work on projects? What would that look like?
Meet my colleague Alex. He and I are working on putting together a presentation for our boss. Thanks to SharePoint 2013, we're able to easily centralize and manage all related artifacts and communications for this project. On a typical day, Alex would start working from home using his Mac. He would check his email from a browser and start work from there. Looks like Alex is reviewing the task for the project, and he has some questions for me about the project. Just by using the browser, he's able to instant message me using technologies like Link. One of the key benefits of SharePoint 2013 is a deep integration with existing tools that we already use, like Microsoft Office, smartphones, and even web-based technologies. So even if I'm out and about, I'm still not at the office yet, I can easily respond to Alex on my phone and update my task. The beauty with SharePoint 2013 is that I can continue working with Alex once I get to the office. You just assign me a task on the project site, and look at what happens. It automatically shows up on my task list in Microsoft Outlook. Isn't that cool or what? Additionally, within Outlook, I can email the entire team directly using this neat feature called Site Mailbox. The Site Mailbox is available not only in Outlook, but it's the same Site Mailbox that the team can see and interact with directly on the project site. The Site Mailbox also provides visibility to all the documents I have in the project site. So what do you think? Are you excited? I am. This is the new way to work together with SharePoint 2013.
A lot of what I showed you here, it's not even 2013 specific. 80%, or I would say 85% what I showed you here, you can do it in 2010 or 2007. It's there. Right? See, let me show you another example. Let me bring up that project site. Yes, I'm using a Mac. Get over it. I love my Mac because that's how I work. I like my Mac. I like my Windows phone. I like SharePoint. I like Yammer. What if you could provide that to how people work? So this is a project site. You know, we're working on a project to build this presentation. The idea is when I heard that I'll be speaking here, so I was like, oh, this is huge. I gotta get people to help me. So I created this project site. I invite other people so that everything about the project, the different tasks, the different documents we needed for the project, calendars, and meetings, all that is all in this one-stop shop other than my email. Y'all with me? And the beauty of this is, since it's invitation only, it's much more secure than email. So the day came, I'm here, I'm speaking, and the rest of my team who helped me, obviously, they're back at the office in DC. And one of the things I've embedded here is, as a part of this project site, I have a project feed using Yammer, right? So I'm just so happy. I want to share with my team what's going on back there. So what I want to do is, on my phone, I want to make sure my team knows that I'm doing this, not just having fun how I do. I'm going to take a picture, right? So I'm going to bring up my phone. Take a picture. Just hit anywhere. Anywhere, right? Hold on. You gotta be in the picture. All right. So you guys smile. I'm gonna tag you in Facebook. Yeah. All right. Let's give him a big round of applause. Thank you, sir. So what happened? Yammer app on my Windows phone, to the iPhone, to the Android, what have you. Took a picture. Stopped using the internet so you can see it right away. Just cancel it. But the point being is immediate feedback. As soon as this is posted, since my project team is part of this, an alert will go out. Hey, Ducks just posted a picture. Check it out. Y'all with me? Think about your world. We had a customer. They were okay. Let me send. They were building gas stations. So we helped them use SharePoint and social. One of their pain points is, as they build these gas stations, they got to take pictures and videos in case there's bad construction. So it'll be up to the code, whatever. So traditionally what they would do is they'd take a picture, email it, or take a video, email it, and that's not as efficient, right? So with this solution, they took a picture, right? So we put in, they took a picture. As soon as they see a crack, took a picture, surface it in their social, engineering, saw it, and say, okay, use this part instead. Immediate feedback. Y'all with me? Let's see. So, all right, let's hit refresh. And not only did my project team seize this, but anybody subscribing to this group in my company, right, in the other part of the world, wow, I like Ducks' shirt. They might tag it and tie it to some Pinterest post, right? The power of social. When we talk about enterprise social, it should not be a destination. That's what SharePoint is today. You want to admit it or not? Yeah, dogs, we have SharePoint as our intranet. We've custom branded the UI. It looks really pretty. It's a freaking brochure. People go there just to look at their holidays. Do people really work in SharePoint? No. The idea of enterprise social is take your investment in all these different tools and make sure it works together for everybody. And in order to do that, you got to step back and say, ¿Por qué? How can this help my business? Not just because I need an intranet. I'm going to show you another example. We have friends here from the banking industry, and I promised them that I'll show them a banking example. So watch this video of a bank on how they took advantage of social to deliver better customer service. Watch.
Metro Bank is driving a revolution in banking. We aim to create fans, not customers. And we have a culture that's all about surprise and delight. We have lollipops, we print our debit cards on the spot, we welcome dogs through the store, we count coins for free. More importantly, we understand that we need to be there when our customers want us. So the fact that we open 7 days a week, the fact that we're open early and late, and the fact there's always somebody to talk to, we don't have machines answering the telephones. The customer understands that we're there for them. It was important to us that the journey for our colleagues be seamless. For them, it was really important that the technology they have in their hands at work matches up to the types of technology they're using at home. Originally, we chose Salesforce as our partner because we wanted something that was more Facebook. And when we saw the Windows 8 interface and what's coming with Dynamics CRM, we decided that we wanted to go the Microsoft route. CRM is our customer platform. It was all about integration. Dynamics caps the stack, but behind the scenes, we make sure that Yammer drives the conversations within the business. We use SharePoint to drive our knowledge management systems. We use Link to surface the presence of our colleagues. Office 365 is the backbone for our office infrastructure, involving our customers in the process as well. We've started using NetBreeze from a social point of view to make sure that we respond to and engage with our customers and how they're feeling. We're opening more accounts and we're driving the effect that we're looking for, which is people recommending us to other people. That we're on the road to the point where the Microsoft technology and the Microsoft stack will become central to our amazing culture. We talk about revolutionized banking. We talk about creating fans, not customers. For us, the investment in Dynamics was all about bringing that promise to life.
That's what I love. Create friends, not customers. Surprise and delight. I know a lot of you are in IT, and you might think, Dux, you're being too much of a Tony Robbins today. But that's the world we live in. The demands are changing. Shift happens. If you start thinking about mapping it to a business value, think about your world, right? Think about what are some of the things that we need today. Well, Docs, one of the big problems is executive doesn't know what's going on with our project. Maybe you can provide better project transparency. Later, you should go to the session, one of the speakers. He's going to talk about a case study they did for the state on how providing project transparency with the Microsoft stack. Maybe better collaboration, maybe increased communications. Going back to that example of Paycom that they did in the disaster relief, SharePoint was an integral tool to facilitate better communication and collaboration. What's the business value? Think about that. The next step to drive purposeful collaboration is you want to try it out first. So the wrong thing to do is you get so excited, you go back and say, we're going to do this for everybody. No. Test it out. Initiate a pilot. Find a use case. Again, I use project because that's an easy use case. And I'm sure you'll find people in your organization that'll be excited about this. Hey, I know you're going to start a project. There's like 10 people or 20 people. Instead of using email and Excel, all these funky tools, since we have this other investments, let's try doing it this way. And by the way, buy the book called SharePoint for Project Management. Subliminal message. Now, you got to start thinking that enterprise social is your get your work done platform. Not about liking, not about newsfeed, get my work done. Right? To do that, to initiate a pilot, you got to think about what the game plan is. What is the process that you want the team to partake in? So here's an example of a process on how we're going to manage projects using these technologies. So for example, for those not familiar, this is what's called a swim lane diagram. We diagrammed out the process on how we're going to manage projects. So the first part of the picture here is the swim lane for project sponsor. So in this pilot, when a sponsor approves a project and a project manager gets assigned, the first thing that the project manager will do is create a schedule in Microsoft Project. Y'all with me? Once the schedule is created, let's go ahead and create a project site in SharePoint, and then we start assigning resources, blah, 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 blah. So, map it out. Use Visio. Y'all with me? This is very, very important because the number one rule is you got to get everybody on the same page, and that's the biggest problem today. You know, everybody uses the word SharePoint loosely. If you ask 10 people what SharePoint is, you get 10,000 answers. Right? In fact, every answer to any question is SharePoint. How do we do collaborate SharePoint? Where is that SharePoint? What's your mom saying SharePoint? What we're talking about here is being purposeful. We're going to better how we manage projects. That's one, getting people on the same page. This is the process. Number two, what we've just done here, friends, which is a big issue in the SharePoint world, we've defined roles and responsibilities that govern these groups of people. The G word. Because today, the way we look at governance is this big, thick piece of paper that IT came up with that the users can care less about. But what we've just done, friends, is we've now said, if you're a project manager, you are responsible to do this, to do that, to do. We're good? Number three, why this is very important is we just defined training. Because you as a project manager, you're going to do this. These are the things that you have to learn. Purposeful, in context. And that might just be a 2-hour training. Versus sending somebody to a 4-day boot camp that they can care less. You got to get people on the same page. You deliver contextual training. Once you identify what the roles are, what they should be doing, make sure training is relevant. Don't start training people, here's Yammer, here's how you create a group, or here's SharePoint, here's how you create a site. There's no context. Instead, okay guys, when we start working on a project, the first step is a project site that has to be created. And in order to do that, you go to our y'all with me? When you want to put in your change request, we have to put this change request list with this kind of workflow, so it will go to the change control board that we never really hear back from, but that's cool. Make it fun, make it engaging. Training doesn't have to be the typical IT, here's a list, here's a library. Incent people, excite people. You know, one of the things I do a lot, and when I deliver training, I employ this technique called active learning. And one of the tools I put together is this tool called SharePoint Jeopardy. You guys want to see this? I'm going to show you SharePoint Jeopardy. The idea with this is when I put together these training programs, I tell people, all right, guys, so you got to listen to this training because in the end, we're going to play this game called SharePoint Jeopardy. There's prizes, okay? You want to play this? Let's try it? Okay, let's try it. All right, so let's start with the first category here. SharePoint doesn't suck. For 100. If you know the answer, raise your hand. I'm going to call it. SharePoint doesn't suck for 100. This feature allows up to 4 people edit a document at the same time. What's that? Incorrect. Incorrect. Man. Where's collaboration? Incorrect. This is a 2010 feature. Are you guys messing with me? No. Tough love here. No. This feature in SharePoint and the Office suite of products is called document co-authoring. Oh, very interesting. Try one more. Upgrades for 100. Man, we're only at 100. It would take forever here. This is a type of SharePoint upgrade where configuration data for the farm and all the content in the farm is upgraded on the existing hardware. What do you call this type of upgrade? Who said that? What is? What is in-place upgrade? Let's give it a big hand. You learned stuff, right? Did you have fun? Yes. What feature again allows up to 4 people to edit doc at the same time? Good. You got to do something with your user group here, you know? Something. And by the way, I'm going to show you one more thing. Do you guys want this?
Yes.
It's just Outlook, or not Outlook, PowerPoint. I'll send you all this stuff. By the way, everything's recorded in my session, all the templates, I'll send it to everyone, all right? I'll make sure I put a 50 gig attachment in the email. Fourth step, to drive purposeful collaboration. So you do your pilot, you get people to do things differently for better, and now you see the value. You learn stuff like people don't know what co-authoring is, so make sure it's on a training program, right? Now you think about how you do it corporate-wide. Because now you can go back and tell the big boss, we did a pilot with this project team, look at how communication was better, people didn't drop the ball, they're able to track stuff, now it's good for everyone, right? So you implement organization-wide. And what does that mean? IT cannot do it alone. You got to work with corporate communications and human resources or similar entities to drive the message. Because, as you know, if you get an email from IT, it goes to junk, you don't even read it. Because you're thinking, they're just rebooting the server or some upgrade or emails being checked. But if corporate communication sends it out, hey, we got this new thing going on. We got this new campaign. Much better. So think about how you push using the platform, how you message the platform, and then as you implement company-wide, the goal is to facilitate sustainable adoption. What does that mean? A lot of us, especially IT, we think that we roll these out, once it's out, we're done. And we're going to wait 3 more years to upgrade. No. The biggest part of this game is how do you sustain and grow maturity, that SharePoint is not just a big file dump for 12 years. How do you elevate that maturity? The goal of sustainable adoption is to drive excitement. Wow, this is cool stuff. Hopefully some of you are excited with our conversation this morning. But not just being excited for excitement's sake. It should facilitate change, meaning they should be able to do their job faster, better, sooner. And then you should provide a mechanism that they are empowered and help them to grow and learn. To empower them, you got to establish scalable support, because once this goes out, the traditional, I'm going to fill in a ticket request if I need help, won't cut it. It's too slow. So you got to put a structure in place where people can help themselves. There's a lot of great tools out there. For example, Microsoft put out resources called discoversharepoint.com. Go there. They got tips and tricks, use cases you can download, put in your environment, discoversharepoint.com. Yammer has a lot of resources. Put it there so people can go to and learn themselves. The second way of learning is community-based learning. The power of an enterprise social platform is not only do they have to wait for IT to help them, people can help each other. Hey, I'm trying to do this. Anybody have this issue before? Oh, yeah, I looked at that last week. Here's how you fix it. And then IT should be taking care of the heavy lifting. Right? Put that structure in place. And I'll provide some resources for you on how you think about that. The last step to drive purposeful collaboration is you constantly facilitate engagement. And facilitating engagement entails gathering feedback across the board. Formally, informally. Did this work? Did it not work? How good is it? Now, ideally, you'd like formal responses, well-written responses. In most cases, that doesn't really happen. That's why you got to measure how successful you are. When you measure, there's really 2 ways to look at it. Quantitatively, metrics, it's important. And what we're seeing here is a Yammer analytics showing how many likes, showing how much engagement and all that, if it's working or not. That's good, but quantitative analytics or measurement alone is not enough. Why? Because just by looking at numbers, it may look great. Wow, we have a sudden spike in Yammer conversation last week. Great. Well, the reason why that happened is because Seahawks won. Suddenly people liked it a lot. Has nothing to do with our business. Y'all with me? You got to match it with qualitative measurement, and this is where your business value opportunity comes back. Remember step 2, we said map to business value? Do these numbers tell or is evidence of we're getting better at collaboration, employee engagement? Right? What was achieved? Global spread of business was demonstrated in the last 3 months. 15% improvement of successful projects on time. Y'all with me? Qualitative and quantitative measures. To lead the enterprise social revolution, you got to drive purposeful collaboration. 5 steps to do this. Secure stakeholder buy-in. You map to a specific or list of specific business value. Initiate a pilot. Take the learnings from that pilot, roll it out company-wide, and make sure you sustain this by facilitating regular engagement. What do you guys think? Useful? Let me ask you a very important question. Who's ready to do this? Who's ready to lead this social revolution? Raise your hand. Oh, great, I'm not coming back anymore. Who's ready to do this? Raise your hand, please. All right. Keep your hands up. Do you want to know the steps? All right. I'm going to show you the steps. I want everybody to stand up. Stand up. I'm going to show you the steps to lead this revolution. Stand up.
Open Gangnam Style.
All right. Here's what we do.
Gangnam Style.
Step 1. What's step 1? Secure.
낮에는 따사로운 인간적인 여자 커피 한 잔에 여유를 아는 품격 있는 여자 밤이 오면 심장이 뜨거워지는 여자 그런 반전 있는 여자 너는 선호해 낮에는 너만큼 따사로운 그런 선호해 커피 식기도 전에 원샷 때리는 선호해 밤이 오면 심장이 터져버리는 선호해 그런 선호해 오빤 강남 스타일 강남 스타일 오빤 강남 스타일
Shift happens.